Shalom, shalom. Welcome to another insomnia-fueled rambling. So I saw a video on here and I thought that I saved it, but now I can't find it. So if you are the person whose video I'm referencing and you see this, or if you know who she is, tag her in the comments. And if I find the video, I will tag her as well. So in this video, this girl was talking about going to church camp when she was a teenager, and how on the last night of church camp, they were at church service, but the head pastor, the main pastor, wasn't there. And somebody came in and talked to the other pastors that were there, and then they made an announcement that he had had a heart attack. And apparently his daughter was also one of the campers there. She was in the audience and she started crying and freaking out. And so they started praying for him, and they ended up having an altar call, and a whole bunch of people decided to be saved. And then she found out, years later after the fact, that was all a ruse. That he had never had a heart attack, that nothing was wrong with him, and that they just said that to try to convert people, and that she never knew if his daughter was in on it or not. So this made me remember going to church camp when I was a teenager, and an early teenager. And one of the years that I went, there was a similar thing that happened. So at the church camp I went to, we had chapel every night. There was this little chapel in the camp, and every morning we would go to chapel, and every evening we would go to chapel. And every night they would do this thing where they would say, does anybody want to accept Jesus as their Lord and Savior? And the way that they would do this at the camp that I went to is they would have everybody close their eyes, and if you wanted to be saved, you would, with everybody's eyes closed, you would raise your hand, and somebody from the staff would come around, and they would specifically pray with you and talk to you one-on-one. So this was a common thing every night, and I had been going to this camp multiple years, and this was just a thing that always happened. So anyway, on I can't remember if it was the last night or next to the last night that we were there, when we were at chapel, somebody came in and they said something to the head pastor, and then he made an announcement that there was this plane crash that had happened somewhere, and there was a girl who was in my cabin, and her name was Kelly. And she had a cousin who was also at the camp, who was a counselor that season. And they had family from another state. I believe it was Texas. But they lived in that area now. So that's why they were at that camp. Now this plane supposedly went down near where their family was from in Texas. And they couldn't get a hold of their family. They were trying to get details. Nobody knew what was going on. And the two of them were just sitting together in chapel, just bawling. And I remember the pastor saying that we needed to pray for all the people involved with this plane crash and this accident and just everything that was going on. And they did an altar call, and they asked if anybody wanted to come up and be saved, because it was the end of the week, and a whole bunch of people did. And or you could just raise your hand and somebody would come talk to you. And now in my memory, after hearing this girl's story, I was did that actually happen? Did this poor girl's family actually have an emergency, or was this just some big elaborate hoax to try to get people to accept Jesus? And I hate to think that. I always want to believe that people are being as authentic as possible, but I never even thought for a second that people in that position would be lying to children to try to convert them until I saw that video. So yeah, so now I have all of these questions. So if this video ever finds its way to Kelly and you remember me, let me know what the heck was going on back then.